Hey, mahal everyone, welcome back again to the Broadway Saiyan YouTube channel. I am your host 40 and we are back with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. This time, guys, we're going to be talking about the next upcoming chapter for the global version of the game, Chapter 11, Dimensions Labyrinth. This is going to be an overview and details regarding the characters and everything about Chapter 11. Now, we know that this was just announced recently. Upon the making of this video, it was announced just yesterday. So this is why I'm a little behind in releasing this, but I'm finally able to make this video for you guys to help you guys out to prepare for Chapter 11. So let's go ahead and check out what Chapter 11 brings us. So the story is going to be continuing, and this is actually going to be an epic part of the story because it's going to be getting closer to concluding story part 1, because we know that there is a story part 2. If you guys do play the JP version of the game, there's a story part 2 or arc 2. So this is going to be concluding part 1 of the story. Jecht, Yuri, and Lilla are going to be joining the global roster. There's going to be 3 levels to challenge within Chapter 11. So it's going to start off with one map, and then it's going to go to another map, and then it's going to go to the final map. And the villains of chaos are actually all going to be striking back. So there's going to be a particular level where every boss fight is essentially you're going to be fighting 2 of the villains that represent the chaos roster within the story of Opera Omnia. So it's going to be a very, very exciting chapter. It's pretty long, so it's also going to give you guys a lot of opportunity to farm up some gems and get those limited time rewards, but it's going to be great because it's going to be a very, very enjoyable part of the story. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the characters that is going to be unlocked during Chapter 11. So we're going to take a look at Jecht first. He is a fan favorite from Final Fantasy X. He's going to be coming in being a fast physical melee damage dealer. He's going to be red crystal affiliated, and one of his abilities does have the fire element, so he's a fire element specialist. Then his abilities are powered up when his brave is greater than 30% of his max brave. However, do keep in mind that he does need his weapon passive to take advantage of that, and we'll get into that when we actually talk about the weapons. Now, his ability 1 is called Beat Rush. This is going to be a 3-hit melee brave attack that also grants him attack up for 2 turns. The brave damage modifier on that is at 120%. His Beat Rush Plus is going to be a 3-hit melee brave plus HP attack. It does require that 15 CP and its brave being greater than 30% of its max brave. The brave damage modifier on this particular version of the ability does remain at 120%. His ability 2 is called Jecht Slash, so this is going to be a 4-hit fire melee brave plus HP attack that also grants Jecht physical attack up with a brave damage modifier of 120%. Jecht Slash Plus is going to be the same thing, and it does require his 35 CP along with his brave being greater than 30% of his max brave. However, he performs the ability twice now, so it's kind of like Kuja's abilities, where Kuja's abilities hit twice, or essentially his Ultima 9 hits twice. So it's similar to that. So this is pretty cool that Jecht actually has access to this form of this ability. So Jecht, good or not good? We're going to take a look at his pros and his cons. So his pros, he's a good option for a physical melee damage dealer, and Jecht Slash actually reaches a high brave damage modifier of 300%, provided that you have that 35 CP passive. And statistically, he excels in attack speed and max brave, which for me are very important for damage dealing units. Now, his cons are, unfortunately, without his gear, he just isn't into par. He suffers from low damage modifiers without his gear, and he is one of those characters that is extremely reliant on having his gear. And we all know that characters are much better, obviously, with their gear, but he's one of those that, like, you desperately need to have his gear on him. Otherwise, he just isn't going to be performing at his maximum potential for what he was actually capable of. And then, since we already know that the level 60 era is already in global, fortunately, he's going to be benched. He's going to be on the sidelines for a while until he gets his awakening, and later on his rework and his EX. When he gets that, he becomes an absolute monster. But for now, even with what he currently has that's going to be given to him in global, unfortunately at level 50, he is going to struggle a bit to be in your party compared to some of the other characters that we already have at level 60. Now the next character we're going to look at is Yuri. So Yuri is going to be a hybrid damage dealer with options for physical melee, physical ranged, and magic attacks. And also he is coupled with a unique buff that grants him both brave and HP regen, and he is white crystal affiliated. And I did forget to mention on the slide here that one of his abilities does have the holy element, so if you need an option for a holy elemental user, Yuri is one. His ability 1 is called Power of the Crystal, which is a 2-hit range Brave plus HP attack. The first hit reduces the target's Brave by 25%, so just like Bartz's missile ability. And then this ability, unfortunately, does consume 50% of Yuri's HP if Chelinka's Prayer unique buff is inactive on him. The Brave damage modifier for the second Brave hit of this ability is at 100%. His ability 2 is called Lilla Crystal, so this is going to be a 1-hit holy magic Brave attack that also grants him max Brave up, and this time it gives him that Chelinka's Prayer unique buff. Chelinka's Prayer gives him that Brave and HP regen like we mentioned, and if he doesn't have that buff active on him, it does consume all of his Brave before he actually uses this ability. The Brave damage modifier is actually fairly high at 180% on this ability. And then he also has a Brave attack plus, so this is going to be his 1-hit melee Brave attack that consumes 10% of his HP if he doesn't have Chelinka's Prayer active. It does have a fairly decent modifier at 120%. So Yuri, good or not good? His pros are that he's versatile because he has access to 3 different types of Brave damage options: physical melee, physical range, and magical Brave attacks. He does have high Brave damage modifiers provided that you have his weapon passives available to him. So his Power of the Crystal is at 240%, Lilla Crystal is at 360%, and then Brave Attack Plus is at 180%. And then he does have excellent attack and max Brave statistics, which is pretty good again because he is a damage dealer. So what are his cons? So without Chelinka's Prayer, I like to call it the Rock Lee syndrome that Yuri suffers from, and this video, if you guys don't know who that is, will show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so hopefully you guys found that a little entertaining. If it was a corny joke, I'm sorry, I just couldn't help it. But yeah, Yuri hurts himself. He has really bad negative effects without that buff, so he desperately needs to have that Chelinka's Prayer active, because otherwise he's just going to be a detriment to your party, because yeah, he has high damage modifiers, but he's hurting himself at the same time. And for a damage dealer, he actually has a slow base speed stat, which kind of hurts him a bit. And then he's gonna see little usage again because we are in the level 60 era. He does get an awakening and a rework, making him a little better later on. But again, he still does need that Chelinka's Prayer to be active, even with his awakening and his rework. So yeah, he really does suffer from hurting himself, essentially going too crazy with his abilities without that unique buff on. And the last character we're gonna talk about that we're getting in chapter 11 is gonna be Lilla. So she is a fast debuffer, buffer, and Brave Battery all in one package. She is absolutely amazing to be able to do all 3 of those, and she is affiliated with the Yellow Crystal. Her ability 1 is called Whirling Edge, which raises her Brave based on her max Brave before she actually inflicts an AoE HP attack, and this also does inflict a speed down on all enemies. Her ability 2 is called Sensual Dance, which inflicts attack down and magic attack down on all enemies, and it also grants all party members Brave based on her max Brave. So again, she has all 3 of those options available to her, which makes her an amazing character. And for me, personally, the definite prize on amongst the 3 characters being featured for Chapter 11. Now, Lilla, good or not good? So her pros are, again, amazing versatility. She provides buffs. She does debuffs, and she's a Brave Battery. With her weapon passives being in effect, it makes her obviously a lot better. She has a good speed stat, which helps her with this role, because depending on your party comp, she'll probably go first, which means that she can actively already put those debuffs and that replenishment and those buffs on your party, which is great. Her initial Brave and HP are also very good statistically wise. And then even if you're missing one of her passives, her abilities alone without her weapons passives are actually not bad for what they do. So even if you only have one of her passives or you're missing one, she can still function moderately well. Now her cons are she does lack a good option for Brave Shaving, so she doesn't have a good Brave Shaving ability outside of her regular Brave attack. And again, with level 60 era already live and global, she might see some little usage. However, amongst the 3, she's the definite best, and I wouldn't be surprised seeing party comps using Lilla alongside the current level 60 characters that we already have, because she really is just that good. And later on, when she gets her awakening, she becomes a monster. Even in the JP version of the game, as far ahead as they are, I still see people using Lilla. She is just that good. She's very powerful, and with just her 15 CP and 35 CP weapons, she really provides really good value to your party. All right, so we're gonna see 6 new weapons to pull from Chapter 11. The first one is going to be 35 CP Scar's Dents for Jecht. This is going to be giving his Jecht Slash a Brave damage modifier increase, as well as giving him an additional usage on the ability and further lowering the action delay. It also grants him a 40% max Brave up to him for 6 turns. It increases his physical attack up that he gives to himself to 40% now, and this time it also extends the duration of this buff to 6 turns. And it changes his Jecht Slash to Jecht Slash Plus, as long as his Brave is over 30% of his max Brave, which triggers that second usage of that ability. And then his 15 CP Jecht Sword increases his Brave damage modifier of his Beat Rush and lowers the action delay. It also increases the attack up buff he gives to himself to 40% now and extends that duration to 6 turns. And it also changes his Beat Rush to Beat Rush Plus when his Brave is over 30% of his max Brave. The next 2 weapons we're going to take a look at is 35 CP Brave Sword for Yuri, which gives him a Brave damage modifier increase to his Relic Crystal, as well as his Brave Attack and Brave Attack Plus. He's also going to be getting an additional usage for this ability, and his max Brave up that he gives to himself is increased to 90%, which is actually really high, and his Chalinka's Prayer potency is going to be increased, and extending both of these buff durations to 4 turns. So at least now, with this passive, he has an extension to that Chalinka's Prayer. And then his 15 CP Gladius is going to be increasing the Brave damage modifier for his ability Power of the Crystal, and that first hit is now going to be lowering the target's Brave by 50%. So again, just like Bartz's Missile Command. And then the last 2 weapons, which is arguably the best value, again, for the banner, I can't stress that enough, is going to be for Lilla set. So her 35 CP Cinquedea, and I apologize if I mispronounce that, but I think it's Cinquedea or Cinquedea. It's going to be giving the attack down debuff an increase to 30%, the magic attack down debuff an increase to 20%, and also extending the duration on both of these debuffs. It's also going to be inflicting sap to all targets for 4 turns, and sap is a debuff that drains the target's Brave by 10% of Lilla set's max Brave, which is really powerful. It's also going to be granting her a 40% max Brave up to all party members for 6 turns, and the Brave granted to the party is increased to 50% of her max Brave. So that Brave battery that she has with her second ability is going to be increased to based on 50% of her max Brave. And then her 15 CP Darksteel Jambia is going to be increasing that Brave gain she gives to herself to 30% of her max Brave. It's also going to be increasing the potency of the speed down debuff she inflicts and extending it to 4 turns. And it also grants her a small speed up to herself for 5 turns. So what are my thoughts on this banner? Should you pull or should you not pull? So this banner is really amazing because of Lilla set being on it, and she has the most value out of the 3 characters that's featured on it. So it's a really, really good banner, and yes, I highly encourage you guys to pull on it. However, it does suffer a little bit from what the Zac banner previously suffered from, which is we are very close to the EX weapon era. So this is one of those banners that's going to put you at a crossroads of whether or not should I spend some gems on this banner, or should I just wait and go for the EX weapons and just wait until these weapons are refeatured in another banner. The good news is that we did see the announcements. They are increasing the rates for 5 stars to 10% now. So we were probably going to be seeing a higher chance of pulling multiple golds and multis now. So it's probably going to be easier to get these weapons if you decide to pull on this banner, but I can understand if you guys want to save gems. But overall, my thoughts is that it's a great banner. If you decide to pull, you're getting a lot of value out of it. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be the Blackened Will boss. So this is going to be the final boss for Chapter 11. So this boss has 2 phases. The first phase is going to have it accompanied by 2 Blackened Bond ads. The ads and the boss itself during phase 1 cannot be launched. It cannot be chased. So I'm sorry, Lael. I'm sorry, Cloud. I'm sorry, Dark Knight Cecil. You can't launch this boss. This boss will also be silencing your Esper. You can't summon your Esper. So if you want to summon your Esper, you better build it during wave 1 before this actual boss fight, and then summon it then and have some of the summon turns bleed into this fight. However, the Esper Blessing does remain. The debuffs that this boss likes to inflict will be lowering your attack, defense, and max Brave, and it does use a host of AoE Brave and AoE HP attacks. It is going to be resistant to all forms of Brave damage, elements, and debuffs while it has the 2 ads active, so you want to make sure to try to take those ads out, so then that way you're not prolonging this battle. And it does revive its ads with an ability called Bonds Unbound. Now, phase 2 of the Blackened Will boss is actually going to make it launchable this time. So it's going to have a chase HP value of 40. And this boss in the beginning is actually going to pull a Rubicante. If you guys don't understand that reference and haven't played Final Fantasy IV, what I'm talking about is when Rubicante actually heals your party to full before you fight him because he's honorable. So yeah, this boss during this phase, that's what happens at the beginning of this boss fight. Everybody's HP and ability usage is going to be restored to full, which is nice. And the boss will revive itself 3 times before being defeated. So you knock it down once, it comes back. You knock it down twice, it comes back, and then for a 3rd time. And then finally, once you're at the 4th time of knocking it down, it's finally going to be defeated. So you got to fight this boss 4 times essentially. It does inflict debuffs to attack, defense, and max brave. And then you want to watch out for its ability called Spreading Calamity, because this is going to be raising its brave based on its initial brave before it inflicts an AoE HP attack that also inflicts attack, defense, speed, initial brave, and max brave down. And then it does buff itself with something called Powers Gathered. So that's going to be the details on the Blackened Will boss. Now, some final thoughts before we move into Chapter 11. Obviously, you want to farm up those red, yellow, and white crystals for the 3 new upcoming characters. And again, like I said earlier about the weapon banner, it's amazing value because of, especially because of Lilla's set. However, it's very close to EX weapons, so should you decide not to pull, I can completely understand why, but it is a good banner to pull on. And then again, this is a question that's already being asked. Are these characters going to be seeing level 60 when they're released? Probably not, because when these characters were released in the JP version of the game back then, they didn't have their level 60 available. But you never know. Global has been known to pull some surprises on us, but I highly doubt they're going to see their level 60, and we already know that they're going to be getting this later on, so it's something to look forward to for these 3 characters for Chapter 11. Alright guys, we're going to move on to some gameplay now from my JP version of Dissidia Opera Omnia. I'm actually going to be fighting the Blackened Will boss with the 3 characters from Chapter 11, so let's go ahead and take a look at that gameplay showcase. Alrighty guys, so here we are with my JP version of Dissidia Opera Omnia, showcasing to you guys for what's to come for Chapter 11 for Global. So Chapter 11 is going to be located here. It's in that portal there with the red aura surrounding it. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. And like I said earlier, this has 3 stages. So this is actually the last one right here. But if we take the stairs down, we're going to move on to the second part of it. And this is actually where we fight the different villains from Chaos. So this one right here, we fight against Vayne and the Emperor. This one right here, we fight against Kefka and Sephiroth. That's an interesting team up. And then this one right here, we fight against Seymour with 2 mannequin ads. And then right over here, we fight against Golbez and Garland. So it's going to be pretty exciting again when we actually tackle this chapter, because it makes the story a lot more interesting. And then right over here, if we go up to the stairs here, we're going to be seeing part 1 of Chapter 11, where this is where we actually unlock the characters. So right there, we unlock Lilla. And then right over there, we unlocked Yuri. So Jecht is actually the last character that we unlock for Chapter 11. But we're going to go ahead and go up to the, or go down to the lowest level, because we're here to tackle the Blackened Will boss. So this is the boss right here. The first wave is going to be seeing 3 mannequin ads, Warrior of Light, Furion, and Onion Knight. And then afterwards, we're going to be facing off against Blackened Will Phase 1 and then Blackened Will Phase 2. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and take a support here as soon as everything loads. There we go. We're going to take Squall. And then what I actually did is, because both my Lilla and Jecht are already at level 60, I removed the passives to make it a little bit more accurate to how their abilities are going to be in Global. My Yuri, I didn't really build him up much, so he's still at level 50. And both Jecht and Yuri actually only have 1 of their weapon passives active, because I actually didn't unlock the passives for their weapons. So you won't be seeing. So again, you're probably going to be seeing vanilla versions of their ability, of one of their abilities. But for Lilla, I have everything unlocked for her. So let's go ahead and tackle this particular stage here, the final stage of Chapter 11. All right, so we're going to start Jecht off here. Let's actually use his Beat Rush to build his Brave. So his Beat Rush on this account won't have the plus version because I don't have the passive, but I at least have it for Jecht Slash. And for Yuri, oh Yuri, we're gonna go with an HP attack because he doesn't have Chalinka's Prayer. I don't want to suffer from the negative effects, but I'll go ahead and activate it on the next turn. Alright, so now we're going to take out Warrior of Light. Let's take out Onion Knight. And as you can see, that sap from Lilla's set is really powerful. Alright, so that's going to be his Rella Crystal, and because we didn't have Chilinka's Prayer active, you see that it actually drained all of his Brave before he actually used the ability, but now we finally have it active. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and finish off Furion here, and then we're going to proceed to Phase 1 of the Blackened Will boss. And I love that animation where they're like just running towards the boss. It just makes it that more suspenseful and that more epic. So there it is. There's going to be a little bit of dialogue. And as you can see, my Ifrit is silenced. And there you go. There's the ads. So our goal first is you definitely want to take out the ads. I'm just going to go ahead and build up some Brave here for Jecht, because we know that the boss resists a bunch of things. Debuffs, Brave damage, and elements. Let's go ahead and apply debuffs here to the ads. And let's go ahead and use... Actually, we're just going to HP attack, because we know we got the sap off. So there we go. Alright, so there goes one ad. Okay, oh, looks like it brought back the other ads already. Okay, that's kind of annoying. Okay, we're gonna use Power of the Crystal. There we go. And... okay, we got an extra turn here with Jecht. Alright, so now we're gonna take out this ad. And this is Jecht/Plus, so he uses it twice. So great option, as long as you have that active and you have his passive. Oh, he keeps bringing back, so he keeps bringing back his ads, which is actually really irritating. Okay, looks like maybe this turn we can take it out. We can take out this ad. Alright, so now it should be easier to take down the actual boss. There we go. So now we're going to go ahead and apply the debuffs on the boss. He's no longer resistant to it, which is great. Good for us. And now Jecht can have some fun with Jecht Slash. And remember, because we know that we get our abilities revived in the next part of this boss fight, it's okay to actually burn out your abilities here. It's probably highly recommended that you do. Okay, so he's bringing him back, but now that we know that the boss is almost dead, we could actually just focus fire the boss now and not have to worry about the ads. But as you can see right there, he resists the damage because he has the active, he has his ads active, which increases his resistance to different types of attacks and debuffs and all that stuff. So, alright, so B's going next. Okay, we could probably finish it off with Yuri. Alright, and here we go. So there is Phase 1 of the Blackened Will boss fight, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to Phase 2. Alright, so there it is. So remember, this phase we can actually launch the boss. He is affected by Chase. There's a little bit of dialogue again. Alright, and there we go. There's the Rubicante reference right there. All of our abilities are revived and our HP, so that's good. Now remember, this boss does revive itself several times, so you want to be aware of that. And it does like to inflict a lot of debuffs over and over. Like, for example, right there. We have 3 debuffs on us already. So. But at least we have Jecht Slash Plus. Right. Alright, so here's Revive Part 1. So it recovers itself. Alright, so now it has 5 debuffs inflicted on us. We're gonna go ahead and re-inflict the debuffs there, so then that way it gives us instant access to Jecht Slash, so it has his Brave up right away. So if you decide to actually go with a Chapter 11 party, Jecht and Lilla are going to be doing a lot of work, especially with the Jecht Slash. Right. Alright, we have Jecht Slash again. I'm going to save it, because we know he's going to revive himself. Alright, perfect. There we go. Alright, he's going to revive himself again. So this is going to be the second revival. I will be bringing in the friend unit, just because I don't want to prolong the video. But again, this is giving you guys an idea of how this fight works. Alright, so let's get the debuffs off. Alright, so it buffed itself. Here we go. We get the double Jecht Slash. And let's go ahead and bring in Squall. We're going to bring Squall in here. And let's go ahead and use his Renzokuken Plus. Gonna revive himself. Alright, this should be the last revival. I did count 3 times. Alright, and let's go ahead and look at Squall's EX. That's going to be one of the earlier EX weapons that we should be seeing. It's not going to be right away, but he is one of the earlier ones. And there we go. That is the Blackened Will boss. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little gameplay showcase. Sorry if I didn't prolong it any further. I just wanted to end it there so that way the video is not too long. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and hopefully you guys get hyped for the upcoming Chapter 11, as well as the future of Dissidia Opera Omnia. I really like how they're really pacing things out for Global, changing things up, giving us a lot of surprises, but that just makes the game a whole lot more interesting, and I can't wait to see where else Global goes for Dissidia Opera Omnia. Alright guys, I am 40 the Broadway saying stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone.